Uneducated opinion. All right, I'm your host, Jordan. All right, welcome back. So today I'm going to be doing a review for the first Omen, and not the original Omen, the first Omen, that's the new one. So when it comes to the Omen franchise, I'll start off by saying I'm not necessarily an expert. I've seen the first one and I believe the second one, and then I've seen the remake. All enjoyable films from what I can remember. But when it comes to the first Omen, it is directed by Arkasha Stevenson, if I'm saying that correctly. And I'm not familiar with any of her other projects that she's been a part of. This, I think, is like the first big budget film that she's done. So the first Omen stars Nell Tiger Free, most known for being a main character in the Apple TV original show Servant, which I do love that show, and I thought it was full of suspense and tension, and it had me hooked till the end. And I think I tuned in when the last season was about to be released, so I just binged the whole thing and didn't regret it at all. But anyway, Servant is produced by M. Night Shyamalan, so I'm a M. Night Shyamalan stan, so of course I'm going to watch something that he's involved with. But Nell Tiger Free, she stars as a nun named Marguerite Dano, I believe is how you say your last name. And Marguerite is sent to Rome by the church to begin her process of becoming a nun at an orphanage. And as she settles into her new life, she becomes tested and taunted by life outside of the church, while also experiencing an array of strange occurrences that begin to shake her faith. And Marguerite begins growing closer to an orphan considered the troublemaker within the orphanage as the strange occurrences become increasingly intense. She begins to wonder, is there a conspiracy afoot, or has her mind become her worst enemy? So I'll do my best to avoid spoilers, because if you enjoyed the first Omen, I'm sure you'll enjoy this faithful edition. So overall, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It is a prequel, and we seem to be in an era of prequels. Me, for one, I'm not a fan of prequels for the most part, because usually it leads to an event that you're already familiar with, and little to no room to work with when it comes to subverting expectations or expanding the lore without being contrived or forceful. Pearl, for example, I really enjoyed Pearl, and I didn't regret watching it, but there wasn't really a reason for it to, in my opinion. The first Omen did a very good job at leading to the events of the original, while also having its own identity in a meaningful way. And it does a solid job of storytelling and letting events unfold while expanding on the core story of the first Omen, such as how sinister Father Spoleto is and why Father Brennan is so manic and obsessive, while also introducing new memorable characters like Cardinal Lawrence, Sister Angelica, and then that raggedy old broad Sister Silva. The story isn't groundbreaking, but it is reliable and captivating. The foreshadowing keeps you captivated, wanting to explore the mysteries that are hidden in plain sight. The cinematography was almost like a time machine with modern touches that were giving off the atmosphere of like a late 70s, early 80s satanic panic flick. Limited CGI, if any at all, none that I can necessarily spot, but if I go back and watch, I'm sure there'd be something, but it's not noticeable. And then the side characters steal the show at times, starting with a brief cameo appearance from Charles Dance, who happened to haunt my dreams as a child when he played the eye-swapping antagonist Benedict in The Last Action Hero. It scared the hell out of me. And he also played Sardo from Golden Child, which I love that movie. And another character is Cardinal Lawrence, played by Bill Nye, the no-likin' guy, Bill Nye, who played Victor in the Underworld series, amongst other projects. And the person that stole the show for me was Ralph Ineson, who has played such characters as the Patriarch in The Witch and the Green Knight in The Green Knight. Ralph Ineson, he's able to captivate with his voice alone, but his acting also creates a connection to the character, with Father Brennan carrying some of the load when it comes to building the tension or creating the suspense, and he also complements Nell Tiger Free as Marguerite very well, in my opinion. And then speaking of which, the suspense and the mystery are nearly drip-fed, but consistent enough to keep you intrigued and wanting a resolution to the events Sister Marguerite is experiencing. The tension becomes overwhelming at moments without feeling forced or predictable, and then there is one scene in this film similar to the first Omen, so some might find that lazy. In a way, it kind of is, but they ramped up the terror, yet at the same time slightly undermining the first Omen, the original Omen. But then there is a scene shot so well with a sense of disbelief and panic mixed with the practical effects. It actually had me feeling uneasy and a little woozy. To where I was like, oh, I might need to, pause and take a second. And if you know, you know. And then the film doesn't necessarily rely on deaths, but when it happens, it's effective and haunting, in my opinion. And there are some twists along the way, some surprising, but some are also slightly predictable, but not enough to like bring the movie down. And then when it's all said and done, I was enthralled with this film and enjoyed almost every moment. And to be fair, I'll say some negatives. Some of the negatives are, well, mainly it's a little bit longer than it needs to be. I believe it's at 2 hours or slightly over, and it's just kind of unnecessary because there's moments where it does hit slow, like a slow rut, and it just can't get out of it. And then when it eventually does, it picks up again. So it doesn't necessarily ruin the movie, but some slight edits could have made the pacing just a little bit better. But aside from that, I really can't think of any other negatives. I know this film won't be for everybody, but if you did enjoy the Omen franchise, or the original and the sequel, I honestly think you're going to be pleased with this one. Overall, I would rate this movie at 3.5 out of 5. Not everyone will enjoy it, like I said, but if you are a fan of the franchise, I'm confident you will enjoy this movie. It's currently on Hulu, so be sure to give it a watch if you had any interest from the trailers, which another bonus is the trailer doesn't necessarily give too much away, so I think you'll still be in store for some surprises and twists that are effective. And yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. And as always, thanks for tuning in. Love you guys. And remember, stay spooky.